And the Director Generals of Military Operations of all three services, that's the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, briefed the nation on Operation Sindur. Air Marshal A.K. Bharati reiterated that India fights against terrorism and terrorists. Accordingly, on the 7th of May, India targeted only terrorist sites. But he said it was Pakistani military which chose to support the terrorists and turned it into a personal conflict.
We also iterated that our fight was with terrorists and their support infrastructure and not with Pakistan military. However, it is a pity that the Pakistan military chose to intervene and bat for the terrorist, which compelled us to respond in kind.
The DG AO said India's robust air defense system effectively thwarted Pakistani attempts to target Indian installations.
This robust AD system comprises of a large variety of multi-layered AD sensors and weapon systems, from point defense weapons like the low-level air defense guns, shoulder-fired manpads, and short-range surface-to-air missiles or SAMs, to area defense weapons like the air defense fighters and longer-range surface-to-air missiles within our inventory. Additionally, the numerous waves of drones and unmanned combat aerial vehicles employed by Pakistan were also thwarted by the indigenously developed soft and hard kill counter-US systems and the well-trained Indian air defense personnel. All this was brought together as an efficient and effective AD environment by the Integrated Air Command and Control System, or the ISCCS of the Indian Air Force.
Further, he said that another highlight was the stellar performance of indigenous air defense systems like the Akash.
Another highlight has been the stellar performance of the indigenous air defense weapon system like the Akash system. I would like to mention that putting together and operationalization of this potent AD environment has been possible over the last decade due to unwavering budgetary and policy support provided by the Government of India in acquiring state-of-the-art equipment and weapon systems.
Air Marshal Bharati also said that the military bases and systems continue to remain fully operational and ready to undertake any mission if the need arises, completely discrediting Pakistan's claims of having struck India's vital facilities.
All our military bases, all our systems continue to remain fully operational and ready to undertake any future missions should the need so arise.
And the Air Marshal also presented the composite picture of targets engaged by the Indian Air Force during Operation Sindur with specific hits. For instance, Noor Khan Air Base, where video evidence was shown, and also Rahim Yar Khan Air Base, where a crater was created on the runway. And Director General of Military Operations, as DGMO Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, on Monday also addressed the media along with the Air Marshal there on Operation Sindur. In his address, the General said in the last few years the character of terrorist activities has changed. Innocent civilians have been attacked.
मैंने आपको कल बताया था कि पिछले कुछ सालों में आतंक की गतिविधियों का कैरेक्टर जो है उसमें कुछ बदलाव आ रहा था। अब हमारी मिलिट्री के साथ साथ मासूम सिविलियंस जो कि अपना बचाव करने में विफल थे, उन पर भी हमले हो रहे थे। 2024 में जम्मू सेक्टर में शिवखोरी मंदिर को जाते हुए यात्री और इस साल अप्रैल में पहलगाम में मासूम पर्यटक इस खतरनाक ट्रेंड के विशेष उदाहरण हैं। पहलगाम तक पाप का ये घड़ा भर चुका था।
Further, the Lieutenant General conveyed his deep appreciation to the nation's citizens for their invaluable contribution to the success of Operation Sindur. He highlighted the mission's accomplishments through seamless coordination, fueled by the steadfast support of 1.4 billion nationals.
In every single domain that Operation Sindur has been prosecuted, there has been absolute synergy between the three services. Not only have we, in this endeavor, been fully supported by our government, departments and agencies, I cannot here not mention our 140 crore countrymen that have stood behind us with their prayers and goodwill, urging and inspiring us to achieve our mission and objectives. For that, we salute you. You are indeed the best. Jai Hind.
While briefing the media, DG NO, that's of the Navy, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod, also said that India's powerful carrier battle group with formidable offensive capabilities was able to operate with impunity and maintained an uncontested presence in the area of operation.
In the current standoff, the presence of our aircraft carrier with large number of MiG-29K fighters and airborne early warning helicopters prevented any suspicious or hostile aircraft to close the carrier battle group within several hundred kilometers. Immediately after the cowardly incident by Pakistani-sponsored terrorist attack at Pahalgam, we had validated our anti-missile and anti-aircraft defense capability in a complex threat environment using cross-platform cooperative mechanism.
Let me now bring in my colleague, our Akshay Dongre, DD India's Akshay Dongre, who is present at this briefing. Akshay, we've already put out in terms of the sound bites and the lead-ins for what we thought were the main highlights of this particular briefing, which clearly show that Pakistan was just left with nothing really. It was completely exposed in the aftermath of Operation Sindur in terms of how the Indian armed forces responded with precision without causing any collateral damage, and yet hurting Pakistan to such an extent that it was left virtually defenseless. Have we missed anything?
Well, we haven't missed anything. You know, if it makes any sense, we have hit more than we expected, it seems, as far as Pakistan is concerned.
I was asking, have we in the bulletin missed anything, you know, before coming to you?
No, that is about it, Gautam. As far as the meeting is concerned of the DGMO, as well as the presser that has taken place today by the DG level officers of the three forces, we have you know, once again gotten proof that how everything has executed by the armed forces, and especially when it comes to the offensive capabilities and the defensive capabilities. They talked about both, that how we hit these targets and how you know, we defended against the Pakistani waves of drones that they had sent. And you know, very interesting things that these were some of the more popular drones, especially from Turkey, that Turkey has been trying to export to other countries as well, especially in Africa and you know, low-income countries, because they are cheap. However, one thing that has been exposed by Pakistan usage is that that drone has failed, and it seems that it is also losing buyers now, because the kind of air defense system that were put by the Indian Armed Forces, they just couldn't you know, enter beyond a few kilometers inside the territory. So you know, the defensive capabilities have been explained, and it has been explained as a deterrence to Pakistan, that see, we have these many air defense systems, both long range and short range, and we also have shoulder carried MPADs that can also down these drones. So we have a layer that you cannot, probably anybody in the world at this point in time doesn't have any kind of weaponry when it comes to drones and missiles that can actually you know, hit any cities and cause any significant damage. A couple of drones that have in fact landed in certain places, they were also they also failed to hit their targets, and everything has been in detail been explained that how it happened. So it's a messaging to Pakistan's propaganda that the way they are showcasing that they have won this conflict, or that so many bases in India have been hit. So it is to decimate that as well in front of the world, and that is why perhaps very senior ranking officers are now conducting press briefing in clarification to everything that has happened.
And actually, what about the so-called modern armaments that Pakistan has begged and borrowed from its friends, be it friends to the west in the form of Turkey, or friends further east and north, also India's neighbor China?
Well, Pakistan is a tier 2 country if it comes to power and any kind of power, be it hard power or soft power or economic power. Because what we have seen is that Pakistan is nowhere when it comes to major world economies or major world powers. It's just a country that is known for terrorism. So as far as their high-tech weapons
no, but
are
it thought
concerned,
that it had the
most
modern weapons that it had got from countries like Turkey and China. What was their fate?
Well, perhaps, when it comes to these weaponry, it seems that, and there are sources telling us that there is a lot of pressure also on Pakistan, that the way they have Pakistani armed forces, the way they have used the kind of drones that it actually borrowed or bought, that too on loans from these countries, have failed so miserably that these countries are losing buyers, foreign buyers who were going to buy these drones because of their ineffectiveness. So Pakistan is under pressure because they have used it against a power such as India that has integrated all of its air defense systems into one and is working with a very precision based synchrony, as well as the theaterization is absolutely complete as far as the forces are concerned. So why did Pakistan use the Turkish drones or the Chinese weaponry against India? So, they are also under a lot of pressure because it has sent out a very wrong signal to the world that these weapons are useless. So that is one thing. But when it comes to J-10s or JF-17 or the kind of JQ-9 air defense system that they have been boasting, one has been neutralized in Lahore. There are reports that aircraft have also been downed off the Pakistan Air Force, and it's up to them actually to count bodies now after the action has been done, because the fight has never been against the Pakistani army. It has always been against terrorism, and that is the focus of the entire action that has been taken by the government of India, and it will take it once again if there are any attempts to either cross-border infiltrate its terrorists or even funds or trains terrorists on its own ground. So if there is intel that there is any kind of threat to India, India will act.
Yes, certainly that has been made amply clear, because India, all its key assets are secure and safe and fully functional, also the personnel who man them, and if India is provoked again, well, Pakistan should really watch out. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment, Akshay Dongre.